There you go. I see 2 people in here. Who's in? Nice, nice, nice. How are my weed guys doing? Anyone make any money there? Just watching, just watching. Nice, John. You're crushing me right now. You should be teaching, not me, bro. Whatever. I want to hear a Papa John OTC webinar. We'll do one of those too. And we still need Chris to do his little bit on the filings. I want to hear it. So we'll get that done too. Little louder, little louder. Let's get that going. Let's see here. Boom. How about that? Is that better? Nice. Okay. So, yeah, man, I feel kind of shitty about it. Like, so I kind of sat down to trade this morning. Obviously, I had to do that. Was supposed to do a Steady Trade podcast, but you know who didn't show up? Probably because of his $1,600 win yesterday. Probably drank a little too much. And we were actually, that's what I was joking with Tim Bowen about. I guess we'll be rescheduling. So that's that. I wasn't quite, my head wasn't in the game this morning. And it got me thinking, like, in all honesty, over the last couple weeks, just with everything going on, the DVD, man, I've not been as sharp, and I've just started to notice that. Like, I think the a little bit part of that is just the patience. The market's been so slow. I've kind of gone into recluse mode. Like, I've kind of pulled back a lot. I've still been watching. You know, I'm still here every day. But I haven't quite been pulling the trigger. I haven't seen the plays like developing in my head. I haven't seen too many setups that have been great. And I mean, I know it's not just me, but I feel so. This is why with this pot sector momentum this week and last week, I feel kind of shitty. I missed that because, you know, in slow markets, those are your opportunities right there. Those are your opportunities. And I know it. And a lot of you guys already know that. It's, God, man, it's just kind of lame, but I'm okay with it. You know, I'm not losing money. I'm not taking stupid trades just because the market's slow. I did have some buds, you know, on that first day, a couple days ago when CVSI went crazy. Oh, shit. I made 8K on CVSI. Sorry about that. I forgot. I honestly forgot that. So it's not that bad. I did catch some of it. I caught the CVSI bounce. But that's funny. 8K is like a large number. Anyways, I digress. Man, I've just been spending so much time on this DVD. It's so much work. It's so much work. And it's kind of taken me out of the markets a bit, along with like family stuff and whatnot. So in other words, what I'm trying to say is that my goal over the next couple weeks is to just get immersed and get sharp again, and be ready, because things can change any day, and that one play can come around any day, anytime. So that's my goal. I'm going to get back into just the hardcore trading for the next couple weeks. Obviously, I have to stop midday, work on the DVD, and then I'm working on it all fucking night, basically. It's not even, I don't know. It's messed up, but there's my little spiel. So just in case you guys wanted to know about me. But let's get to the markets. But weed sector's been running obviously for several days. And like I said, I'm just not as sharp as I've been. I haven't traded OTCs that much this year. And I forgot how it's just kind of like that, a liquid choppy action. And I think OTCs in particular are much more of like a big picture type play, where you have to have your conviction on the daily chart, because most of these OTCs set up on the daily chart and nothing else. And then take your move and be patient, which is normally my forte. But with buds, when CVSI crashed, it kind of freaked me out. You know, that CVSI crash the other day really freaked me out. So that was kind of the reason for it. I knew I, you know, was going to have to work on the DVD a bit and whatever else. So when CVI panicked, I sold my buds. I made about $1,000. But that's it. I didn't take my can. I cut for break even when it dipped, you know, that same day. And I know Papa John took it overnight, which is awesome. Dom was playing and selling into morning spikes, which is awesome. Canadian John is like, that's all he does. So awesome, guys. I'm glad some of you were making some good money this week. And you should be like that. For some of you guys, this is like literally your wheelhouse, you know, and like right in the groove, right in your wheelhouse. And it used to be my wheelhouse too. So I'm going to, I need to sharpen up my skills. I need to watch the OTCs, especially when there's sector momentum like this. You know, we got buds, we got can B today, CNAB, nugs. If nugs isn't wheat stock, I don't know what is. There you go, nugs. CNAB, all the usual suspects, even GRNH is like a wheat stock. And I mean, the sector's moving. I'm hoping it's the beginning of something, you know, I already feel like I'm chasing at this point, which is why I'm not really trading these into the close today. I don't see a point personally in really holding on to them, but Papa John said he's been mainly using daily and hourly charts recently on OTC. So smart. So smart. And that's what I was doing back when the Bitcoin ones were moving. And the last time I played the weed sector, I was doing the same thing and I just kind of forgot about it. So thanks for reminding me. But, you know, when you get into these moves, it's like the big picture move. And for me, I would literally take the 1 minute chart off, because there are going to be a liquid. Even if they're trading great volume for an OTC, it's still going to be poor volume for any other listed stock. So, I mean, the OTCs, that the key is patience and waiting for the daily chart setups, and then having your conviction, you know, when the time's right, and then letting them work for you. And a lot of times once you get you know, if you get some actual sector momentum in OTCs, they'll go for days and days and days, which is really cool. And it doesn't necessarily mean buy and hold for days. Obviously take profits along the way, but you know, I made such good gains on my small accounts early on OTCs like this, and OTC sector momentum in particular. Between weed and the Bitcoin, you know, the Bitcoin stock, penny stocks, those ones were going from like 5-6 cents to $1, or a BITCF, which I think doesn't trade anymore, went like even further, went from the pennies to like $5 or $6. I don't quite remember. I don't think I traded BitCF. First Bitcoin. Let's see. Here's BitCF. Where's the numbers at? Yeah, I mean, it's in the pennies right now. It came from the pennies, but it was up in, you know, $1. There you go. Almost $3 this thing got to, which is just bonkers. But yeah, so between those, the OTC sector momentum is awesome, and I've just missed out on it. You know, not completely. I hit CVSI, which, you know, was kind of, and this is why I'm not really mentioning CVSI when I'm talking about this pot sector momentum, is because CVSI obviously went parabolic on that day, but then panicked and went all the way, like was the biggest percent loser. and the rest of the sector actually stayed pretty solid, which is awesome. So CBSI just got way overextended, and then whatever the circumstances were yesterday, there was a massive dump, especially with such amazing volume. So, I mean, that's why I keep forgetting about CBSI. But yeah, obviously this was like, has been sector leader for a while. This thing's been crazy. Look at that. Still at 673 today. Pretty crazy to me. Tom said CBSI in a different world than the sector. Yeah, totally. It's crazy. And just like doing amazing volume. And it's amazing. It really is. It's really mind-blowing that it did that. But it's cool. It's cool. And I'm going to keep on watching these weed stocks. I mean, it's pretty crazy. I just hate chasing, you know? And so with me, with sector momentum, I like to try to recognize it early and get in the first couple days. And I have recognized that it's been there. I just also know that I haven't been able to watch the screen all day for like the last 2 weeks, basically. So I'm not able to sit and watch like I'd like to, you know, and let these things work for me. You know, I mean, at any point they could technically panic once they get overextended, which some of these aren't even overextended yet, you know, quite a few of them. They're down so much from their highs that this could be like a nice reversal and get some continued momentum for like the next couple weeks, which would be sweet, you know. CBSI went parabolic, but none of these have really gone parabolic yet, you know. Usually when you get sector momentum, if it occurs, you know, you get that interest and then eventually they start popping. The thing I do like about that right now is that NASDAQs are so slow and the listed stocks have been so slow that, like, I mean, it would make sense that if this sector got going, it could really get going, you know? There's nothing much to trade listed, so what's everyone going to do? They have to find something. Well, what are the biggest percent gainers? Weed stocks, OTCs for the last several days. This morning, there were a couple of stocks that tried to make a move. What was I watching? I was watching COS, which had like a 52-week breakout yesterday, even going back further. And it's actually holding up decently. It's not too bad. It's pretty illiquid. But if you look, I mean, it's actually over VWAP. This will be interesting. This might try to do what it did yesterday, which was double top. Look at this thing. I mean, double, triple, quadruple top here. And it's a liquid. It's a low float. It's a headphone company. They sell shitty headphones for cheap. Kind of like here, HEAR. So when here was running back early this year, and even a little bit here into May, I mean, I think this might be when it was, but cost was kind of moving in sympathy a little bit. And I say a little bit because look where it's at. It's at 4 and here's in the stratosphere. It's worth a watch going into end of day, but it is day 2 going into day 3. But I think there's squeeze potential here. It's a low float and it's a 52-week breakout. It's kind of cleared that resistance. I don't know. Just a little too illiquid for me right now. But I was watching that this morning. You know, there was decent volume. But you can see yesterday it did try to squeeze into close. So I am going to keep an eye on that maybe for a scalp. Like, maybe. Probably not. Yeah. So, COS I was watching this morning. Didn't do anything on it. CYTX, I was very close to buying this morning. I was actually watching it right out the gate. And let me zoom in for you. It's amazing to see where all these stocks come from, you know. I was watching it. It was just literally hanging right here in the low 50s. And I thought about just taking a speculative shot at it on the fact that it's not going red from yesterday, at least from where it opened or at where it closed yesterday. So CYTX, I came pretty close to buying this morning, you know, like just taking a stab at it, and it would have worked. Just the fact that it held green today, You know, the first couple seconds, I'm sure any kind of chat room could have got this move going, and I'm sure that's what happened. But kind of a similar thing going on as with COS right now, KOSS. You know, kind of a little bit illiquid throughout the day, and it's just hanging around VWAP. So there's no real edge there. There's no volume. You know, I'd have to see serious volume come in, some kind of indication that there's about to be a move. Right now, it's not giving me that, but I'll keep CYTX up. I don't think it's a great play by any means. AMDA, another one that popped up. Just a dog. I have no clue what the catalyst is to this, but it's only done 1 million in volume, dollar volume, nothing major. Gap fill 60 cents, probably would fail anyways. I don't even need to get into the filings on this. I'm not going to touch it, even though this has been the pattern, like we've spoken about. But that's all. That's like literally it. What else was I watching this morning? Mind, MYND. Just like news that I didn't see going anywhere. But what you're seeing here, in my opinion, are like, and this is eventually what's going to happen, is like there has to be a breaking point. I think with the market so slow, people are, you know, pulling back a bit, so we're getting a lack of volume. I don't know if anyone else has noticed that, but you know, we haven't been getting killer volume down in Pennyland, which kind of sucks. When volume kind of dies out like this in the market, this is why I'm kind of not as sharp as I should be, is because I have pulled back so much. You know, I've pulled back so much because of what's been going on. But we've been getting these like failed spikes. And then this is what I was used to like last year. You know, after when I first started, the shipping stocks were going crazy, and it totally skewed my expectations of what we're supposed to do. And then when those stop, this is kind of what it looks like. You get a semi-low float, chat room pump, chat room gets a hold of it, oh, it's moving, they all buy it, and then it drops. And then it's just a matter of if our buyers are actually going to step in and create a sustained move or not. And generally, this is usually what used to happen. This is what I remember always happening. You know, and then we have the Bitcoin stocks moving, and that gets the market going, or GVO makes a move. So I'm just waiting for that move. And I know we've been doing this for weeks, and I've literally been saying I'm waiting. Well, that's what trading is. You know, I mean, it's literally, you got to wait, and you got to stay as sharp as you can. You know, it's like being a substitute in the game almost. And like, I don't know how many of you played sports or not, but you got to like warm up on the sidelines and be ready. You know, it's one of those things. And that's kind of the mode I feel like I'm in. I'm just kind of trying to stay as warm and sharp as possible. So when the time comes, I'm ready to rock and ball out. And that's kind of like, that's the mentality I'm in. And it sucks because I'm constantly fighting with myself to trade, you know, like, it's not like I'm not sitting here. I'm here every day, market open and close. I just have to do other shit in the middle of the day. But I mean, I'm still doing it, you know. This is what I love. I love watching our markets, but it's like, I may just start shorting everything until there's one runner. I mean, holy shit. That's how it feels right now. I'm sure any of you short sellers can attest to the fact that it's probably felt pretty easy. Your shorts have been nice and easy, and you're probably grinding out decent money every day. And that's because you've been able to short almost every move for the last couple weeks, and at least cover, you know, at a really nice price, like as long as you cover. But most of these have been dying, so. All right, there's my spiel. I've just been ranting, sorry. I feel like a caged animal right now. Questions? But to sum it up, like the OTCs, I don't want to chase them right now. You know, I don't want to chase them. I'm going to do better during these afternoon sessions to try and trade as if I was under PDT. Now, I don't want to do it recklessly, okay? But Hell, maybe I will. Maybe I'll put myself under PDT, like 20K or something. Not too far away. I'm just kidding. But maybe I will. If that's something you guys would want, like I could do a smaller account. It doesn't even have to be under PDT, but I can trade it as if it were. And I can trade it in the afternoons as if I were trying to take overnights and kind of get back into that mode. I'm so disengaged like for overnights right now too. And I haven't been trading overnight really for quite a while. You know, I enjoy the peace of mind in the afternoon of not having an overnight. Last year, and especially when I was building my account, I had an overnight position every single night, almost. And especially early on until I realized I didn't have to take an overnight position because that's dangerous too. But that's what I was doing for quite a while. I would take at least an overnight trade every night because I was still not disciplined enough not to. I felt like I need to be at least in a trade a day, and that means I at least have to take an overnight position every night, which is far from the truth. You don't have to do that. If there's no play, don't do it because then you're just going to wake up and lose money. Odds are, even if there's a play, you can wake up and lose money, and that's the issue. My other issue with taking overnights is that I don't, you get that crazy morning action, and you could have a position you're buying in a day, and there's that dip, and you were buying into the spike during the close, and you get a dip, and you're screwed because you feel like you have to stop out, and you take your loss, and then it rips, and then you have to use a day trade to get back in. Like that kind of mentality is tough to battle. And so for me, every single morning I would wake up, I had my overnight position, sometimes multiple. Once I thought I had the hang of it, I was taking like 3 or 4 overnight positions a night. And my aim was to think maybe one of those will be the spiker the next morning. I can just cut the other 3 quickly. But what happened is I wasn't able, I mean, now I could probably juggle that a lot more easily, understanding how, morning action works. But back then it would just, scramble my brain in the first 5 minutes of the day because I'm trying to watch 4 really volatile stocks moving right out the gate and, trying to catch those moves. Now, my preferred method is to literally wait at least 10 minutes, 5 to 10 minutes. Sometimes I'll jump in earlier, but for the most part, that's the goal, is to let things settle a little bit. I found in my career so far, the most money that I've lost has come from trading the first 5 minutes because it's so volatile. Even the ones that aren't complete low floats can be really volatile right off the bat, enough to shake you out. So I'm still jabbering. Let me look at the questions if there are any. Jesse said BDT is trash, which, I mean, I pretty much agree with you. I think, I'm of 2 minds about this, which is one would be that it can help not overtrade when you don't have the capital, but more the stronger feeling for me is that it hurts traders because they now have a reason why not to sell when they should be. So it's not, if you're trying to day trade and they have a rule that does not allow you to day trade, is essentially what it's doing. So they're saying you want to be a day trader, okay, well you're not allowed to. Pretty much. They're trying to eliminate that, which is stupid. Which is completely stupid. Like, we create these moves here. Without day traders, penny stocks just die. Period. These companies don't get paid, and that's my opinion. I don't think, I think the majority of people in penny stock land are not trying to find the next Microsoft. They are literally traders like us. And when it's a low float, our market is getting bigger and bigger and bigger. There are more and more and more day traders every day because of people like Tim, me, I suppose, a little bit, but like everyone, like there's so many. Foos, Underground, Investors Underground. Now like AT09 and Modern Rock are doing their thing, which I'm cool with. I think it's pretty cool. I think they're really good traders. I think it's not necessarily applicable to like a small account, realistic to like your average everyday Joe who is trying to learn how to trade in the first place. When they're saying trying to teach you how to short, and they can't even afford to get the borrows. Like, it's kind of, I think it should be a service more for like advanced traders. if you're a noob trader trying to short something like, you know, any kind of parabolic, you're in big trouble. Where they can afford it, you know, it will blow someone right out of the water with a 10K account right out the bat if you fuck that up. Excuse my French, I was talking to Tim. So that's my take on PDT. It does suck, but it's a reality that we have to deal with. So you either open up multiple accounts to get around that, or you got to learn to trade with it, or you save money. Like, those are the only ways, you know, or you make money. So, and that's the dealing with the part. And if you're in that position, which I was, there's no way I could have gotten over PDT. You know, I was living paycheck to paycheck, literally, and had my second kid at the time, like months before that. So the pressure was immense on me. I mean, for the first 8 months or so, I mean, I was paying bills from that account. You know, I had my day job, but I had to pay bills from that account. You know, my wife wanted like turf in the backyard. It was like 5K. That cut my account in like half. It was messed up. But, you know, I mean, I saw it as the big picture, and it was just, I don't know. I owed my wife at the time. So, dude, it's not the end of the world being under PDT, but I'm sure any one of you who has been under PDT and has not been under PDT can tell you it is liberating. So that is the ultimate goal if you're under PDT, is get over PDT. Like, that's step one, in my opinion. I mean, obviously step one is become consistently profitable. Yes, that's the only way that you're going to get over PDT. But that was my first short-term goal. And you need goals. Like, it's not like I need to make this much money in this much time. But in the back of my head, you know, I knew what the goal was, which was get over PDT, and then I can stop with this overnight gamble kind of thing that I had going on. And correction, it wasn't so much a gamble, but you guys know morning action. It's hectic. And so I did get really, really good at that game. But there were times where I was really aggressive, and those were times like this with the pot sector, where you can, with relative certainty, get a gap up and a spike. Especially OTCs, and they're closing at their highs, and it's day one, and they're multi-day breakouts, and the sector's hot, all that stuff combined. You know, these are good times. The Bitcoin stocks, when they were running from the pennies, I was maxing out my account buying penny stocks, and doubling and tripling my account like overnight. So yeah, man, it's, you know, the markets have been slow, but I've gotten some of the pot sector, but I'm just a little bit upset. Normally when this happens, I'm swinging 3 or 4 of these bad boys overnight, you know, taking profits into the next day, and then hopefully one more day. You know, my goal is try to get it like 2 or 3 days when we get good sector momentum in OTCs. Taking profits along the way, obviously. So Tom says sector momentum, especially ability to swing OTCs overnight, sell into gaps is the quickest way out of PDT, and I agree. When it comes to overnights, like, it's funny because OTCs are the sketchiest, right? But when it comes to overnights, it's OTCs, the way they move, when they finish at their highs, you get a decent probability of at least a little spike in the morning. It's kind of crazy, but it's true. Even if you're just selling first thing in the morning, like, you can get a gap up. So if you've bought and gotten an afternoon spike and you're holding some overnight, you can usually squeeze a little bit more out of that, sometimes a lot more. Yeah, and that's when they heat up. It's a pretty cool thing when they do. It's a pretty cool thing when they do. And the only way, and how do I know when they do? Just my scans. It's that simple. You know, my OTCs are pink, and I'll see pink lighting up the board. They're all weed stocks. Okay, sector momentum of sorts. And then you look at the charts, and is it there and confirming itself? And then it gives you good conviction. So it is such a cool thing once you understand. Here's the thing about being under PDT. And there's a lot of things about it, but one of the parts is like you got to figure out a hack for it. You have to figure out a way out. NASDAQs and low floats can be tough because as much as you can have an exponential gain on the NASDAQ under PDT, it can also take a sizable chunk out of your account really quickly on the low floats. OTCs are different. You know, they're just a different beast altogether than like a listed low float doing big stock, big size, big volume. Sorry. So yeah, I mean, does it help to know how to play those being under PDT? Absolutely. You know, if you're able to catch, once we get the low floats running or anything running for that matter, with volume again, and we're trading these things, it's an excellent opportunity to grow a small account too. You know, I mean, you can take 1,000 shares of a $2 stock, and if they are running properly, you can get a point once in a while. But even 50 cents, and that's $500 right there. So it's one of those things that it is possible, and you just have to find your niche. Like you have to find your spot where your comfortable spot where you like to be in. And then focus on that, really. And I know that's what some of you guys have done to great effect. And that's what I've done. I've made most of my money off sector momentum. Most of it. You know, I can grind out $1,000, $2,000 a day, even when it's slow. I mean, I haven't been trading so much because I just don't feel like wasting time on plays that aren't going to run. But it's still one of those things that's really it's tough, but you can do it. You know, you just have to find your groove. John went from 8K to 41K in 12 weeks once he focused on his edge. Yeah, there's proof right there. And it's 100%. He found something he was good at. He found something that was consistently profitable for him and then focused on that and grew his account, because that's what you have to do to grow it. And then if you can find somewhere that's like an ATM for you, and it's never going to be that way all the time, obviously. But if you can find something where you're taking money out of the markets on a daily basis, you have to stick to that, especially with a small account. Don't start messing around with other strategies, or, you know, if you're going long OTC multi-day breakouts, don't start shorting parabolics for no reason. That's a one-way ticket to screwing up all the gains you got from your sweet spot. So, you know, your sweet spot will be different from everyone else's. But at the same time, like, yes, I believe OTCs, especially if they're, you know, when they're moving in the correct fashion and when there's some decent volume down there, and even when there's not, I mean, there's still opportunities. You know, like people like Dom and Papa John have been making money on OTCs, like, you know, for the year, all year, you know, and it's true. Like, especially with OTCs, the more you watch them and get used to the level 2 and stuff, we'll get into level 2 for OTCs because they're a little different. Well, they're quite a bit different. We'll get into kind of market makers and stuff that I look for when I'm trading them. But yeah, I mean, they found their little niche and exploited it. And that's the goal, because if you can find something that's making you money, it's not always going to make you money. I promise you. I promise you that. So you got to hit it when you can. And that's my mentality too. And that's why I'm always looking for sector momentum. I'm always trying to gauge the markets and see when I can be aggressive and when I need to pull back. It's so important to do that. So important. So getting an over PDT, you know, it's find your sweet spot and attack it while it's there, while you can. And then it'll go away. And then one day it'll be back, because everything seems to be so cyclical, you know. Everything's cyclical in the markets. Everything feeds off of everything. So it's one of those things that's hit it while you can and then forget about it, you know, until that opportunity comes back, and you'll know exactly what to do. And that's been my experience, is like different plays come around. The first time I miss them, and that's just natural. Like I miss them or I chase them and I lose because I don't know what I'm doing. But the next time it comes around, okay, I know exactly what's going on. Now, it's also important to know that these stocks, even though they're cyclical and they will run, a lot of times the share structure has changed dramatically. Like take the shipping stocks, for example. And we had the huge move a couple years ago. Then we had a huge move a year later, basically, after reverse splits and all this company, Dries, DCIX, Tops, whatever. But since then, they've diluted again. So they're never going to move like that again, unless for some reason they do another massive reverse split in the future, get it down to a low float, and then don't dilute, and then pump it. Like it's that kind of thing. So you do have to also keep that into account and not just blindly buy sector momentum because it's there and you see it. But for the most part, if a sector's running, you're much safer going long than when it's just an isolated stock with isolated news. The odds are dramatically increased across the board when it's sector momentum. So that's my little spiel on sector momentum and PDT. Tom made 20K in January on our PDT. Another case in point, doing the same thing over and over again, not straying and like trying out new strategies. Tim bought GRNH and so did everyone else after his alert. When? Right now? You just bought it? That doesn't surprise me. And it's not necessarily the worst. It's not the worst place to be. Like any of these wheat stocks are not the worst. Oh, I see. He did buy it, didn't he? And by that I mean the chart. Was it like here? .0345. Wow, so literally right here. Dang. That was pretty liquid. Wow. I mean, I don't blame him, but he definitely got a pop there. Like that, I mean, you know, it's just, I don't know. I'm not one to bash on Tim. You know, I have no problem with Tim whatsoever. And whether or not he says don't follow his alerts, he understands the business. He knows what he's doing. And it might sound lame, but for me, one of the reasons I'm not going to do a big chat, and if I ever do a chat, I'm not doing alerts, ever, is this. I don't need or want aid in my trades. I just don't. That's not for me. You know what I mean? Like, I don't find it to be good. This whole thing, like, it's done. I mean, that's literally Tim volume. That's crazy, you know? I mean, that's bad. And it creates a, you know, its own move. But you know what? It's just a reality of our space. Like when Tim alerts, people buy it, period. That's what I did. That's what all of you probably did at some point. Like that's what, when I was new, that's what I thought you'd do. You know, my whole thing was like, okay, I can just follow his alerts, make a little bit of money until I figure out what I'm doing down here. And I'm sure I'm not the only person who thought that. You know, I mean, it's just a reality. When you're a noob and you get to the markets, like you're so lost. And you look online and this guy's consistently making money every single day. He's making $500 to $1,000 trading size that you could also trade. You know, if you have like a 5K account, a lot of his trades, you could actually probably trade them. But it doesn't work like that. And then you're waiting for a move that's artificial. That's not going to happen. And it doesn't happen all the time. Like, trust me, I've seen all of Tim's trades for years. It's not... Some of them are totally legit. Like, it's not necessarily getting like hit. And I've seen his buys have no effect on stocks before. You know, when the volume's there. It's only when it's a liquid. And then something like this happens. I mean, even liquid stocks, if it's a lower float, like he's going to get a pop. He going to get a pop. You know? He going to get one. He's going to get it. Like... And then he takes his 10%, 15%, 5%, and he gets to say he won his trades for the day, and so on and so forth, rinse and repeat the next day. And I'm not saying he's a bad trader. I don't talk any shit about Tim to anyone ever. That's not how I am. I'm super grateful to Tim, actually, for finding him and then helping me. So for me, Tim, sound rules, but it's inevitable that when he buys, subscribers sell, he's quote unquote trade safe and he sells into the pop. It just happens to be true. Now it's not as bad as like, you know, Dekmar or someone, in my opinion, who I had never heard of. And he's got like, you know, 1,000 people in his chat room and he's live trading. Or Ross Cameron, even worse. Like Ross Cameron, I mean, you know, all these people, I mean, it's just how the space is. It's where the most money is. It's like there are a ton of people who sign up for alert services because they think they can make some quick money like that. Like that's the model, you know, that's the model that's in place. And there's not shit that we can really do about it. Except have a service that does not do that, you know? So. Ponytail Ross. Papa John said, I'm grateful for Tim. He's the only reason I'm doing this now. Same exact feeling here. 100%. No beef with Tim whatsoever. You know, he happens to be like the king of the space. He crushes, man. And his outreach is affecting the stock, like the penny stock market, period. His outreach, in my opinion, is what is bringing in thousands and thousands of new traders. You know what I mean? So it's cool. Like I really do believe like he's basically single-handedly bringing volume to our markets at times. So you just have to be aware. You have to be aware, you know, whenever you see any of these moves, that sometimes they're artificial. A lot of times they're artificial. Happens to be the right sector. So, you know, I ain't going to hate on it. I might have taken a little GRNH. You know, it's in the right sector. It's the first green day. But still, he got a pop. And it's still going. I hate to say it. There was a stock I was in last year. IKTX? Is that a stock? Is that a stock? Maybe not. Does anyone remember the ticker? ITKX? KXT? KTX? I don't know. there was a really liquid penny stock I was in that had some news come out, and then Tim bought it, and I made like 200% of my money in like 5 minutes. And I saw Tim alerted it, and ITKG, Papa John, my man. ITKG, right here. Right here. That was it. Yeah, it was some news came out. I forget what it was. Something about some tier 1 car manufacturer in Europe using their technology on all their cars or something like that. And it's not even my proudest moment. Like, Tim was hailing it as his biggest win of the year last year, which it was. Where'd you go? I'm going to scroll into, oops, I'm back in 2000. There it is. There you are. It was this day, and this was the dump the next morning. That was Papa John's first bag hold. Followed, got greedy and didn't sell when he did. 100%, which was first thing in the morning. Like, literally first thing. It was like his hot stock to watch, and then he just dumped it, which was smart. That's what you have to do there. But in this case, I remember vividly holding a big position here, like in the 3s. Like, I had a big position, like I forget what it was, but and I actually, it got up to whatever 9 cents. I sold at like 6 and 7 and 8. I just dumped it right into that move. I'm like, holy shit. And that was the first time I had personally experienced like the Tim effect on a stock. I mean, I had seen it in the past, but you know, a lot of times he trades more liquid stocks, used to at least, and it was one of those things that I had never seen it. Like, I had seen him get a little bump, but this was the first time I had seen, and the reason is because it was so illiquid. Like, I was like literally one of the first buyers. I actually bought the news on that and figured it might circulate over the next couple of days or something, and it was trading at pennies, you know, at all-time lows. That double bottom even on the chart there. So like, for me, I was planning on swinging it till maybe the news came out, or until it broke down to like under 3 cents. But this thing went up like a couple 100%, you know? So I sold right into it. I remember vividly. So it does happen, you know, and it happens in all these chat rooms, but it's inevitable, man. And that's why I love this small group. And it's cool because, like, I don't know, any of the other chats, it's like 1,000 people in a chat, 500 people in a chat. No one's allowed to talk to each other, you know, inside market hours. It's all so strict. I mean, not really the challenge chat, but it's still like 500 people. You don't get to know anyone. You don't know who's who or who's legit or who had, you know, you're not able to help each other. Like, no one can help each other. There's too many people. There's too many people. So this is pretty cool. Everyone will get to know each other and, like, you know, try to progress together, as opposed to like, and obviously it's every man for themselves, no doubt. But I think a chat should be a place of like moral support, because trading sucks, dude. Like, when you're learning, it's tough. And there are times where you definitely question whether or not you're going to be able to do it. And that happened to me so many times, man. Like, where you know, you just take a dumb loss, or you let a big gain, you know, like an account changing gain get wiped away. And you're thinking to yourself, like, man, do I actually have what it takes? Because it's not easy. But it's cool when you can have a group, you know, like this. It's really cool. And I know some of you, there's a small group in here that also, you know, like met together and have just like their tiny group that's exactly what they do in there. It's super cool. You have people you can shoot the shit with that you trust and that have your back. And that's what I think is the coolest. It's not like a bunch of artificial people just talking shit in the room, and buying alerts and whatever else. Tom said, lots of sad nights, just got to keep showing up the next day. Totally. 100%, man. 100%. Ian said, trading's more draining mentally than I ever thought. Oh, yeah. You know, when I first started to be able to trade full time, like for a living, it was believe my brain was scrambled by the end of the day when I got home, like from the amount of work. But then you push through it and you keep fucking working. You know what I mean? You don't pull off the gas. You don't pull off the gas till you're, you know, sitting pretty and know that you know what you're doing, and then you refine, you know, and you keep learning, you keep grinding, like, and you help people, you help other people, you help other traders, and it makes you better. Like that's one of the reasons that, you know, I want to teach it all. It has made me such a better trader, you know, even just live trading. It makes you really think about what you're doing and be patient and don't be stupid. Don't be taking trades that you wouldn't want your students to get into, you know, and it actually helps me be more disciplined. Now, there will be times if you guys see me start getting crazy when the markets are good and the conditions are right, put me in check, man. Because sometimes, you know, when you're a caged animal like this and those plays come back around, it's easy for me to even start swinging a little too hard for the fences. So yeah, I mean, that's what this group's about, man. Shar said, any good swings for today? Only the weed stocks. I mean, CANB is up a little too much for my liking. And a bit extended on the daily chart already, even though it's only 5 cents. Nugs I like. Nugs might be setting up for a nice little breakout tomorrow. Like a gap up over 365 doesn't seem too unreasonable at this point to me. Not with the sector moving. So Nugs I actually don't mind for an overnight. If I were to take one closing at its highs, I'm not taking it personally, but that's one that I don't mind. CNAB we looked at the other day. It's been on a sweet run. Oh, this is day 2. So CNAB would have been a good buy yesterday. I just didn't play it. But still have some sector momentum here. And some of these are running later now. You know, we've had some of these stocks that have been running for days. And this is why it's so cool when you get sector momentum, because there's so many sympathy plays, you know? And so one of my goals is when you get a sector running, look for laggards. Look for lagging weed stocks that haven't made the move yet. That's something that I've used to great effect in the past. And it kind of like gives you an extra day. Like, so, you know, the other stocks may kind of die tomorrow, but you may, I mean, they may get overextended and then pull, but you'll get the other ones still pushing. The ones that aren't as overextended. You know, as people jump off the boat, made their money in one, might go to another. So CNAB, I mean, I don't mind it going into tomorrow, but it is day 3. You know, it might be due for a little pull, like a lot of these have been doing 1 or 2 day moves and then a pull and then moving. The Nugs daily I really like, obviously. That's a really nice daily. It is up quite a bit, but it's done decent volume, 1.3 million in dollar volume. Let's see. RVLT. What is RVLT? Yeah, RVLT is a little too illiquid for me. I think this is listed. This looks listed to me. Yeah. I mean, could break out tomorrow, I suppose. Float. Kind of medium. No play. I'll watch it tomorrow, maybe for a break over the 280s. I don't know. It's just pretty illiquid, man. Just not many shares traded, so I can't really. If this were an OTC, it may change, my mind. But the fact that it's listed and isn't trading much volume at all is not enough for me. This is more of a watch tomorrow. Tom asked if he could get an alert, a fake buy on nugs, and the challenge chat need to pop their 2.6. That's funny. I haven't been in the challenge chat, man, for a while. And to be perfectly frank, like at times, I noticed I would get little pops in the challenge chat, or if I really needed a pop, I'd like put it on Tim alerts, and it actually kind of worked. And then I did that for like 2 weeks, and then I'm like, fuck that, that's stupid. I don't need the help. Like, I don't want to be. I'm not a pumper. Like, why am I, But it was it was kind of a double-edged sword as well, because I was also expected to kind of give alerts in the chat room, And to be fair, I never was in a liquid stock and alerted it, I think I did on ITKG, actually. I think I put that in the alerts chat, and that's probably where Tim saw it. So it's could possibly whatever. But yeah, fuck that. I think it's stupid. Papa John asked, do I worry about losing some of my edge by teaching your strategy to others? You know what? No. Like, I wasn't. And do you mean like for me losing my sharpness and not solely concentrating on trading? Or do you mean because other people will know like my strategies and how I play them and then try to do that? Yeah, I'm not concerned. I'm not concerned. Here's what I am concerned about is not trading enough and then losing my sharpness. I'll still have my edge where, in my space. But sharpness is, and this is kind of what I was alluding to earlier. I need to make sure I stay as sharp as possible, especially I don't have the luxury of like giving alerts, you know what I mean? So it's not, and that's A, and B, like I'm trying to trade for a living, I like the teaching stuff, there will be revenue, and that's awesome. And that's what, I'm going to use that to pay the bills and like, whatever. But I still want, I'll be much happier if I'm making, $1 million a year trading and $500,000 teaching. That's like, I would much rather have that ratio because I'd rather be known as a great trader than a great teacher. Hopefully as both, that's kind of my goal. I hope both. So, but for me, the trading has to come first. So if I'm not trading well, how can I teach how to trade well? That's basic. And the markets are always changing. Things are always changing. So you always have to adapt. And if you're teaching, you better damn well be knowing how to adapt as well. So, yeah, see, the competition part, here's the thing, John. Like, no matter how many people I teach my strategies to, they're still not going to do it. And that's the problem, is that it's not so much about the strategy, it's about you. And that's what people don't understand. Like, it's not this strategy, you can duplicate it and then you're going to make money. Like, that's obviously not, and you guys all know this already. And if you're newer, you're going to know this. It has, obviously strategies are very important. Tracking your trades and retrospect and doing the introspection that you need, going through your personal statistics to find your edge, to find your sweet spot, that's super important. But it's like the intangible things that people don't talk about, and that's what I think makes me a good trader, not my strategies, if that makes sense. It's not so much the strategies. Anyone can learn the strategies. Okay, short at a key level of resistance and cut if it goes against you. Okay, well, why do people not do that? Because there's something else wrong. They're wired wrong. They're thinking wrong. They're not able to be disciplined enough or patient enough. All of those things, like those are the little intangible things that people don't talk about. I mean, people may talk about them, but I think it's just as important as the strategy itself. So, I mean, yes, I'm not concerned, in other words. Most people are not going to get that far. They just aren't. Even if they watch my DVD, all they want to know is the strategy, which I'm hoping when the DVD's watched, they're going to realize it's much less about strategy and much more about how you play it and how you're able to deal with the emotional strain of being in a trade and how you're picking your levels of support and resistance. Like that's more technical and people can understand that, but they're still not going to do it. You know, it's one thing knowing a strategy. We all know all sorts of strategies, but why can't we implement them? And that's the other stuff, you know, that comes down to performance, not so much knowledge. And I think that's where the big void is. One of the big voids in the space is that everyone's saying, oh, I have 3 patterns that'll make you $1 million. It made me $1 million, you know, like Jason Bond. He has that every time I print on YouTube. Oh, there's 3 patterns, whatever. Bullshit. Like complete, absolute bullshit. It's not so much about patterns, you know? The patterns are there for you to be aware of, and they're only there to aid your decision. But then it's all comes down to your subconscious, a lot of it. So, yeah. It's pretty crazy, man. It's not so much. That's why there's no magic formula. It's you versus yourself versus everyone else, obviously. But it's you and your fucking computer. Can I get money out of this market today? And yeah, you need your plays. You need your go-to setups. Super important. But that doesn't mean shit if your thought process once you're in a trade is shit. You know, it doesn't mean anything. So, and this is what I'm going to keep batting home to you guys. And I don't have the secret answer, like when it comes to dealing with your own personal emotions and how you trade, you know? It's just important to be super aware because that's how you change. Like, you know, these subconscious thoughts that your self speak, and, you know, you may think that you're just watching levels of support and resistance, but it's totally skewed. You know, you may think a stock's going to keep going up, even though, you know, you should know better. But bias comes into play, emotions come into play, and then you start seeing things that aren't there, or you're missing things that are there, you know? So it's so much about that process of like introspection, going through your thoughts, like keep a journal if you need. Hell, get OBS Studio. That's what I use to make my streams. That's how we're doing this webinar right now. It's free. You can do a screenshot, set up a mic, and talk to yourself. Like take notes during the trade. When I started doing that, which I started doing back December or November of last year, or earlier even, keeping in mind I wanted to eventually do a DVD, so I might as well record all my trades. But what I found is that during the important trades, I could go back to them, and I had spoken over them, and I could always mute it. But I would give myself little notes, like little nuggets during the trade, and then be able to rewatch it after. And that's priceless because then you're actually getting into what you're thinking, why you're thinking it. And then objectively after the fact, you can go back and say, oh shit, I missed that. Like why, you know? So. So sorry guys, when there's nothing moving, I tend to, nice, there you go. Sweet, that was a sweet move. Awesome, David. Sector momentum at its best, guys. At its absolute best. Are you in Nugs, Dom? Oh, buds, sweet. Oh, Nugs too, nice. Nugs or buds? I love the weed stock names. I don't know if anyone else does, but I think it's so awesome how apparent they are. And that a stock like buds can like trade at a higher price than a stock like that's trying to cure cancer or something. Look at CVSI. Such a good dip buy. Oh my God, such a good dip buy. It's funny, that's what this stock does. Like even up here, it's doing the same damn thing it's been doing the whole time. You know, pull day and then a rip, and then it's just crazy, huh? Market makers just love CVSI, guarantee it. Just love CVSI. Like this day, 3 days ago, they were just like, cha-ching, cha-ching, just so stoked. Look at that. So much volume here. Sorry, just going to get back to some quick questions. Dan asked, when's the DVD coming? It's going to be done in October. I don't have an exact date yet, but you guys will be getting it like, you know, a couple weeks before everyone else anyways. Well done, man. Well done, Dom. Well done, everyone who's banking on these weed plays. It's sweet. Stuff like, dude, stuff like this, when we get sector momentum like this and a slow market is amazing. It is. It's better for the weed stocks that the listed stocks are not moving so much. It's definitely a good thing. You know, there's a lot of these weed stocks are doing really decent volume for weed stocks. So, or for OTCs, I mean. Anyways, we're going to wrap it up today, guys. If there's anything, you know, that you take out of this, I hope it has to do with not patterns or setups. You know, that's where I think I may be the biggest aid to you guys is just, I mean, yes, once the setups come, we're going to hit them hard. And I'm going to be explaining the setups I love and playing them. This current sector momentum I love, and I just haven't capitalized as much as I would have wanted to. This is the kind of time for me where I'm, you know, making 20, 30K, you know, for the week, that kind of thing, getting big weeks because I'm able to do it and have conviction and be safe. But like I said, I'm just not completely sharp right now, and I'm not able to trade as much as I'd like to. But yeah, I really hope you understand, like, the journey you're on. Of course, it's about setups and testing and statistics and everything else. But it is, if not more important than that, it is the psychological and emotional aspect. I mean, you can know everything there is to know about technical analysis and everything you know there needs to know about setups. But if you're emotionally unstable or psychologically unstable, you're not going to be able to cut losses on time. You know, you're not going to be able to let your winners run properly. Your losers are going to run much further than your winners because you take profits too quickly and you cut losses too slowly. You're going to get freaked out at levels you shouldn't be, and you're going to be buying at levels that you shouldn't be. You're going to be chasing. Like, that's when all the stuff comes down. Chasing's an emotional thing. Anyone who knows anything about trading knows that if you're chasing, the higher it goes up, the worse entry it is. So, yeah, we'll keep exploring all that. Of course, the setups are important, but no good trader just has great setups, and that's why they're winning traders. Period. No way. Look at Gertani. He took his P&L off because he knew that would affect his emotions. And that's what I did, and it helps so much. It really does. I don't watch how much I make anymore. And the longer you've been trading, and if you're good at basic arithmetic, you already know subconsciously how much you're making, or consciously. So it just does help not to see that red or green number. When it's red, it helps you to keep your conviction and stick to your risk. Yeah, so. David, biggest gain of his career today, $600. Sick, bro. John, biggest gain today to 700. Booyah! That's awesome. That's freaking awesome, man. That's such a good day. You know, every new biggest day is such a good day, I promise. And some of you can attest to that too. Like each bigger win gives you better conviction, man, that you can do this, you know? So they're all milestones, you know? So congrats, you guys. I know a lot of you are doing really well right now, so it makes me so happy. Like, legitimately. Dan asked if there's a screen share tomorrow. Yeah, there was a screen share today. Do you not see it? All right, guys. That's it for me today. Gonna get going. A lot of work to do. So we'll be back up tomorrow, market close. No problem, dudes. Congrats to all who made money. That's sweet. Stoked for you. No worries, Dan. Yeah, I'll pin it in the morning. But I had shared it earlier if you scroll up in chat. And I will pin the replay in case you missed some of it. No problem. I'll pin this one. We'll catch you in chat.